right? So
Mm-hmm.
no, I think there was a lot. The way headsets work is there's a pretty standard. I mean, you can only put a hat on one way, right? Like there's only
Yeah.
just, well, you can put a hat on a million ways, but a hat fits the way a hat fits, and same with the headsets. And I think that there's either too much that's added to a headset or there's too little.
Yeah.
And I think the major support that I felt was really needed was that top piece, the strap in the back, and then the clasp, and the ability to to tighten and loosen as you needed. But the other part that I wanted was the ability to push the visor in and away for breathing room,
Mm-hmm.
because once you start cranking that back part, you have no more, there's no more movement. So that extra point of movement was just a little bit extra to give the user, um, like again, that extra notch or two to be able to have it to their fit. And
Yeah.
with the ability to do that, you can also, it also helps to push one side in further than the other if they need to, or whatever it may be based on vision. So there was a lot of little things that I thought about when I wanted it designed, but in reality, I think that um, they're all very generic. They're kind of the same idea, but
Mm-hmm.
each individual strap just has kind of their own little quirks. So
Yeah, yeah, and I've noticed like out of the box, even without the centerpiece, like I noticed you really don't even have to put the centerpiece in. I did it just
no,
because I've used the regular strap for so long without having that centerpiece there. I was like, it didn't feel right. And so I just threw that centerpiece in there just kind of like just
yeah,
make it feel kind of normal to me. But um yeah, I've liked how like it just like fits right here, and then like I just cranked it, and then you don't get that like it was kind of weird not feeling it on my ears anymore, which is kind of good because sometimes it would cut into it. And then I think the best feeling about the headset that you sell is the fact that it feels secure without feeling it's on your head, because the other straps, if you got it too tight, instant headache, instant pressure.
yeah. Well, I don't have I have these guys here. I'm gonna promote them for a second, but
Uh-huh.
I have their headset, and it does that really badly. I actually had to put it down, and I couldn't wear it anymore because it was putting
Yeah,
pressure
yeah.
right on the top of my head.
Yeah, and I don't
And
like that. Yeah.
because it's a band, right? It goes
Mhm.
around, and when you crank it up, all it's doing is pressing on here, where ours pushes on the top of your head and the back of your head, and then you have the ability to push it forward if you want to. But yeah, I completely agree with you because there's times when I've gotten massive migraines and I don't even know why. And then when I
Yeah.
try a different headset, it's like different shoes, right? You all of a
Mhm.
sudden you're running and you're like, these feel weird. And then you try something better and you're like, oh, well, that works for me. And I'm not saying my headset works for everybody. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying though that each individual headset is going to work different for other people.
Yeah, and for sure, and that's why I really like that I could really crank down on it and not feel that pressure, because it's a pressure headache is all what it is. And so that's definitely a relief right there. And like so other than just the head strap that you sell, is there anything else that you have on your store, or is that what your main focus right now?
No, well, I don't want to say anything because Owen's right here, but my pistols are selling pretty like hotcakes right now. But I don't know. I don't know what it is, but the environment right now is just looking for more realism in the sports, and he can talk on it for sure about his product as well. And I think you should,
Mhm.
because it's weird because you physically can't see what you look like outside of your realm, right? Like you
Mhm.
put the headset on, and but the feeling of what everything does is what we want. We want the more the immersion, right?
Mhm.
And with when you got the gun mods, you got the pistols, and you got all this other stuff, it just adds to that just so much more. Um, it's amazing, and it feels really really different. And one thing
Yeah.
I do tell people, especially with my product, because I know it very well, is the pistols are weighted. They're supposed to feel like you have something in your hands,
Mhm.
whereas people are like they play with controllers and they're like, oh, I like this, but it's not really quite there yet. And that's why Olin again can speak on his, but it gives you that extra step of the realistic feel outside of the VR.
So are people what game are people using it for? Like Pistol Whip?
Oh yeah, yeah, pistol whip for sure.
Mhm.
And there's quite a few. but it's mostly it's mostly all the pistol based games. But what I find a lot of is um, they're using it for, again, the immersion, but they're definitely using it to feel that extra weight value, because the controllers are so light that when you're actually using some sort of pistol in a game, it doesn't really feel like you're actually shooting something. Like, you could even put a
Yeah.
weight on a controller, and that would give you a little bit more of that realistic
Mm-hmm.
feel of that firearm that's being raised and lowered, right?
Yeah.
So, and we don't have recoil or anything on our controllers, so that's not a real thing that we can adapt to. So
Which, I thought about this because if you ever go to shoot a gun, you have an instructor there, right? And one that's actually trying to train you to shoot the gun properly with, having a good sight, is that the recoil, majority of the recoil is made up in our head. When we go like this and make the boom, boom, a lot of that back thing is because we've seen movies and we see people do that. And so we put that in our head. That's the way the gun's supposed to be. Of course, there's always going to be kicking a gun, but not as extreme as we make it. And so,
right.
like, I've always wondered, like, with a person that's never shot a gun and has never seen a shooting movie, but they're shooting a gun in VR without having that, like, that, that feeling. If they ever would go out into the field and just like shoot a gun and be like perfect aim, like without having the
Yeah.
kickback, because it's not in their head to do that. But I definitely like when you put real immersions. I know, like, Olen, the the person that we had on yesterday, what's his name? The bearded beer and
Oh,
headshots.
J
Beer
Bar
and
beer and
headshots. Yeah,
headshots.
J
By the
Bar.
way, I'm muting myself because I'm the one causing static. My
Okay.
processor, for whatever reason, is like getting janky. So whenever I'm not talking,
Okay.
I'm muted.
Okay. Okay. So he's having some technical. He was telling me about it. It's kind of funny because he was telling me about it earlier, but we don't hear it through here. But I guess it's only being heard through the streaming service. So that's fun. We'll have to figure that out. But what with J Bar is that he said with his stocks that he's actually added weights to it to even feel more immersive and more weighed down, more than it is. And me, I play with his stock all the time, and I'm just like, dude, after like 30 minutes, like, I used to play hours of contractors and not even feel a difference. With the gun stock, I'm just like, okay, this is I'm getting a little tired here. So I could definitely see how it is. So yeah, you have those two pistols. I saw those. Um, and so yeah, I can see it being pistol whip. There's another one that they're out there. Do you think, since you are into those things where they go on two different sticks to go, like, I've seen new mods, controller mods for like Beat Saber and stuff like that. Have you thought about doing, like, or a lightsaber for like a Jedi game or something like that?
Yeah, I probably will, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I think personally, I wanted to start with something that was fundamentally me. Like,
Yeah.
because I am a hunter. My trade in my past life, and now I deal with firearms, or don't currently deal with a lot of firearms, but I've dealt with
Mm-hmm.
firearms. I've worked overseas and stuff. So RuckUp is more of an outdoorsy type of feel anyway. It's just
Yeah.
kind of what it is. So I wanted to stay
Mm-hmm.
within that. And Beat Saber, I do play a little bit, but I'm nowhere as good as some of these.
Dude,
Some
they're
of
nuts. No,
these
no,
like
there's a reason why there's YouTube videos on, like, certain styles of so extreme. They've been doing feet saber to wiener saber. And the
okay.
last one I saw was titty tassel saber. Like, what in the world?
Yeah,
Uh,
they're getting creative with it.
that's pretty creative. I gotta be honest. But I think that for Beat Saber is like its own it's its own world. Like, it might as well just be its own
They're
game.
their own breed of
Not own
animal,
game, but
okay?
yeah, it might as well be its own VR like thing. Like, it's just
Oh, it's a genre for sure.
it is. It definitely is. 100%. They've definitely nailed that product. But yeah, there's a lot of competition out there for Beat Saber, like products and stuff like that, which there is for pretty much anything.
Yeah.
But there's just so much coming out now for accessories that by next year there'll be, again, brand new things like um, I don't want to give away too many right now because there's some that I want to get on board with, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that we're in for a pretty cool year coming up.
Any hints for everybody out
No,
there? Any
no,
kind of
I honestly, I couldn't. You know what? I don't even want to give a hint because I actually think that if it doesn't succeed, it will flop hugely. But I don't know
He doesn't
why.
want his name to be part of that.
Yeah, 100%. No. And you know what? I don't care. I've flopped millions of times, like everybody else has, so it's not anything new. But
Yeah, and like from my end too, I really couldn't speak up when because you know the microphone issues. But when you're talking about the pistol grips you have, what was the term you called them? Do we call those gun stocks or what do we?
I
I call them pistol stocks
Pistol
I
accessories.
call
stocks.
him.
A
I would
pistol
call him.
stock sounds good.
Yeah.
But what I was
I'd say
gonna
a pistol
say
stock.
for the pistol stock is that personally for me, I saw it initially. I was like, I don't see like why. My first thought was why, and I get that same response on TikTok all the time. Like why? Like that just seems strange. And then yeah, adding that element and adding the element that you don't really know until you put the headset on and you understand like okay, this is what it actually feels like. You never really know. That's the tough part too. That's the tough sell is like you don't really know what you're missing until you try it. Just like with VR as a whole. And like that the new products you're probably going to be like working on like it's going to be the same scenarios like you don't know until you get your hands on it.
And it totally is, but you got to think. You're thinking of exactly the way I explain it to people. Where is if you're invested in a system like say Xbox or PlayStation, and you play flight sims, you're gonna get a flight yoke. But if you want to play driving sims and you like a driving stick, you're not going to play with a flight yoke. Like
Right.
you're gonna play with whatever is compatible with that game that you're playing with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so each individual accessory is going to do that for you in completely different ways. So one product may be perfect for it, and the other product might just have absolutely shit for it. My product might be crap for that game. Absolutely, I'll agree with that. But it might work for other games and make you feel a little bit more immersed in the feeling. That's all it is. That's what
Yeah.
we're just giving the user just more ability to play the games in their own freedom in their own immersion. That's all we're doing. So
That's also the stuff we're pushing for too. It's not always just like you're going to become a professional as soon as you use the stock. It's like no, it's more than just that. Yes, it will help your aim, but also like it just feels so good to hold the stock compared to just floating your hands. And like I've
yeah,
been doing it since most of my VR like career, so I always prefer it just because of that reason. But like every now and then, like I'll go to freehand just for like certain arcadey type games. So like you're saying, it's not a one size fits all thing. It just depends on what you're going for.
I agree.
Yeah, and also just to let you know, the static is gone with the headset you don't have on. I checked it; it sounds better. So
Cool.
it must have been when you free roamed that. But yeah, I just it's kind of always weird as well when they create games where it's just like you can know there's no way you can even bring immersion into the game because it's so freaking left field. Like you're doing this, you're doing that. It's just like it's almost like I wish there was enough time between Pavlov because there's a gun round, there's a pistol round, and then you got your other gun as well. Like to be able to take your gun stock and then your pistol stock, put it on there for pistol round, and hurry up and get the actual gun stock for actual, for your like MP4s and stuff like that. That'd be kind of interesting. But you have like 20 seconds to buy all your shit really quick and go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so it's I'm excited to see like because you mentioned earlier about how it's constantly evolving too, and I'm always that's always in the back of my mind, and it's always a driver to like keep okay, how am I gonna still it's still working me to find my niche within this niche, but also making cooler stuff for the future. Like it's not just gonna be a basic stock that I'm making now that's gonna cut it. It's gonna have to be the next level of thing, and like it's gonna be a build up towards that. And
yeah, 100%. If you're not thinking of your next product while you're working on your current one, then you're failing.
right,
Because the way this industry is going so fast that it's not going to wait up for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have to get ahead of it. And this goes to straight with you too the esports. Like if you don't get ahead of the ball with what VR is doing in esports, you're going to be left in the dust in a year from now. Luckily, all three of us here I think are doing pretty darn good for ourselves, but
Yeah.
we just can't stop. And I think that when I talk to other people in the VR community and they do ask me, because I do a lot, but I'm saying I do a lot because I want to be part of this going forward. I don't want to be left behind, and I want to make sure that I'm relevant, just like any business person would 5 years from now, 10
Yeah.
years from now, whatever it may be. If we don't think of our business or our future in VR in 5 years, then we're fucked
Yeah,
from the start.
Yeah,
we're
pretty
toast
much.
because it's like that you're just gonna be a one hit wonder where you made something good at one point and now it's not relevant. Relevancy is what is keeps you around to be suitable because like just because one thing worked this year doesn't mean it's gonna work the next year. And then the
Right.
weird thing is that the one thing that you originally started with 3 years later might make a game that makes that relevant again. So at least
Absolutely.
went
Absolutely.
around to bring that back again to understand if you're not up to the news and the things that are happening now. And that's why I like doing this podcast because one, I already am in every freaking VR Discord known the freaking man just because I have to be because I have to constantly see, what's going on. But also I do this podcast just because I like knowing everything that's going on. Like I have like three different people that I watch constantly on YouTube just for like the most biggest updates. I read the road to VR, like their article. I read their articles and stuff like that. I get a lot of my information from them. But if I don't keep up to date on new games coming out and I don't start prepping people to get into the beta or the alpha, like if you look at Ultimate, for instance, as this came out, they had a beta stage and then they had a preseason stage as well. By preseason, you could pretty much pinpoint who's going to be number one in a season pretty quickly. And
Yeah.
if you're not part of that preseason or the beta, and you can't really hurry up and grab that person that is really dedicated his time, who's really loving the game, you can't grab that. The next organization, or he's just going to create his own team.
100%. And I think that this conversation kind of leads on to what we were talking about earlier, which shows the NVIDIA 4000 series. And I want to bring that up in this specific conversation for exact point is what we're making right now is futuristic of the future of technology in VR realm, but then also to be so far ahead of technology because
Mm-hmm.
it's a huge upgrade that there are people that won't be able to catch up for a while.
No.
And where's technology going to go when it kind of surpasses what we can currently do,
What can you
especially
go faster than the 490 right now? Though you see the
well,
specs on that
exactly.
thing.
And
That
it's
thing's nuts.
But at
what's
the
good
same
with
time, like I didn't they just release the 30 series like 2 years
30,
ago?
3090 Ti.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like yeah,
Well, yeah, it's like a new game of Madden. They come out with new stuff every year, but I
yeah,
really
it's a strategy. Apple can put out like the craziest phone you can think of, but they just choose not to because they hold the market. Like they pretty much like
Yeah.
they grip it, but like for the most part, they just periodically release stuff just to keep the money flow in. Right now, we're in the stages like we're trying to just make everything freaking better, better, better. Like no holds barred. Like we're just trying to make it work and make it something cool, which is exciting. Like you just see a lot of experimental stuff, and it's very it's like it's just something that you actually feel like you're a part of and you feel like you're not fighting like this giant monster. It's like no, you're competing with like-minded people that are on the same boat as you. Like yes, there are some big players that have big investments and stuff, but it still is like dude, I have a chance in this even though like we're not huge, like we can still make it happen, just keep working hard. And
Absolutely.
that's why I'm loving what we're doing now, and that's why I'm like just not stopping. But
Yeah, and I don't
yeah.
know if you want to test out this new screen or if you want to even try and do it, but I just sent a PNG of the specs compared to even the 3000 series compared to the 4000 series, and it's it's really like so you got the 4080 and the 4090, they're going to be pretty comparable. I think the price range between the 4090 I believe is going to come out around 1600 to 1500, and then the 4080 is going to be coming out around 800 to 1,000, I think, around there. Which for the GPU, that's really not that much. I was really expecting like $2,000 out of this thing.
You know what sucks though is like I got a 3070 Ti. I got like a $600 CPU. I got the fast RAM. Like I got all this. It's kind of like a Frankenstein PC, but it's still there's still a lot of money. It's a lot of big hardware in there, but I can still only run COD at like so I do all high settings. I was playing Modern Warfare 2 beta over the weekend. the highest settings, I'm at like 110 frames, and then I drop it down to low, and it's at like 70 frames for some reason. So like even
Huh.
though you got all this gnarly hardware and all this good stuff, like if you're still kind of screwed to whatever the game is just going to allow you to do to a degree, and if it's not
Yeah.
made
Which
right.
which is bringing up my point at the beginning of this conversation is like, yeah, you can get the nice sweet ass hardware, but if the game developers are not creating games that are going to push out for that hardware in
Mm-hmm.
another year, 6 months, 8 months, then the hardware is kind of useless until everybody else catches up to it. And I think that that's the same for VR, is where, you know, our headsets, especially if you're using better headsets, totally get it. Yeah, you're going to be able to see a little bit more crisper than Quests or whatever you may be. But the
Mm-hmm.
Quests are only going to be able to max out on something. Like we can only go so far on them. And I think that that's where um, having that great hardware is fantastic, and seeing that goal that we can do this with that type of with the 4000 is just it's a beast of a piece of equipment for sure. Just when is it going to be relevant to what we're doing now
Yeah.
besides gaming on PCs, not on headsets?
Yeah.
And
And
the thing is with these things, like what Olin just said. Yeah, the 3000 series just came out. I was literally just building my PC that I'm getting ready to get was gonna have a 3000 series in it, but with the price that I just read for the 4090, like I can definitely put that in this PC and still fit in the lines of pretty much what was affordable to me.
Wasn't it $1,500 or something?
$1,500 for the 4090.
Well, you could thank crypto for that because they're flopping, so
Yeah,
it's now
so
going.
yeah, dude, everything's flopping the whole entire.
oh yeah, and
Dude,
dude,
TikTok
people
is
are
just
selling them so much, dude.
TikTok, I swear, is just a stream of just, hey, what's up, America? Everything's on fire pretty much, and everybody's
Yeah.
broke now. I'm just like, okay, well, I'm gonna go play video games now because I don't want to think about the impending doom coming this winter. It's literally like Game of Thrones. Winter is coming, and all the produce places are on fire and whatever. I'm just like, all right,
Where are the
well,
ice giants at?
yeah, shoot.
You're gonna see them in Miami when the freaking hurricane washes you away.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was a hurricane too. My goodness.
So
But
yeah, it comes out October 12th for $1,600 is how much the total is.
how much was
That's
the
crazy.
3090 on release? It was like in the
Uh,
$800, right?
no, I thought the 3090 when it like I remember last year the 3090 Ti is what came out last year. You could not find the damn thing to save your life.
Right.
And when you did find it, it was 2 to 3 grand. I remember one person showed me they bought it for 4 grand. I go, that's the stupidest thing
Yeah.
I've ever seen in my life. You could have built a lovely PC a little bit lower for the graphics and would have ran just fine for the next 5 to 10 years. Yeah, you might not have had the best one, but just wait till this hype is over. The only reason why the hype was so big is because everyone wanted the data mine. Guess
Mhm.
what?
Yeah.
No one's freaking data mining anymore. And you know what? All these people that bought these GPUs just for mining are now trying to sell them, and these people, these sad people, are buying these damn GPUs that were ran every day, 24/7.
Yeah.
Don't buy those.
Mhm.
You are
Yeah.
buying a freaking on its last limb GPU. It might be a 3090 or a 3090 Ti or a 3080. Who knows? You know, but they ran that every day at the maximum power. You know, the threshold it would go
Yeah.
just to try and mine, and you know whatever mining's done. So,
Same thing with
uh,
PlayStation and crazy prices. They're releasing a newer, slimmer version without a disk drive now, but it's like, okay,
which
like
I
all
prefer.
for all
I
those
like
for all
that.
the for everybody who doesn't have one, which is pretty much everybody on the market who wants one, is like they're coming out with that, but you're like, oh, that's something I still can't get because I can't even get the first one still.
So
Yeah.
the
It's
3090
ironic.
Ti at launch price was $2,000,
Whew. So it's even
and
cheaper
that's
and it's like double the power.
double. So
I
4090 is
think it's
double the
triple the
power.
power, isn't it?
No, on some games it is tenfold. Yeah, I think he might still have that graph pulled up on the image. You can't see it though. We'll have to find a way so the guests can see it, but we have it pulled up so everyone else
No
can see
worries,
it.
no worries. Yeah.
I'll have to also send you it after this because I know you'll like to read this information. But like they have like Resident Evil, Assassin's Creed, The Division,
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Warhammer, and they have all the thresholds of what is being pulled. And so you have the 3090 Ti, and the only thing that it's better than some games is in with the 4080 12 gigabyte series. But when you have the 6 gigabyte, I don't know why, if you're getting an esports game, why would you even buy a 12 gigabyte RAM? I mean, you're not going to get very far with 12. 16 or 32 is really where you're going to be at with a 4080. So, but the 3090 is still okay. But looking at the 4090 series for $1,500, why not?
So like so we're talking. I got it pulled up here now for everybody to see. Uh, this is just relative performance, right? But like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, like how much better can it like Cyberpunk is the only game I can imagine that it can run better, but
Yeah,
like
even look at Cyberpunk. It's like if you look at the Cyberpunk compared to the 3090
ridiculous.
Ti, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I want it obviously, but I'm just like I feel like it's gonna be the same thing where like yes, I wanted the 30 series. I finally get the 3070 Ti. Saved a little bit of money, and then I'm just getting a slight jump in frames. I'm not seeing anything extraordinary for the games I play at least, and it's just kind of frustrating. I'm like, now I got to put 1,500 down, and like I watched my little brother play his PS5 playing COD. He'd play Warzone a lot, and it looks beautiful and it runs 120 consistently. I'm just like, dude, I'm paying double the price for one component. Like
Yeah.
it should just be running like it's in real life, pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and we'll see how it gets. But I mean, the only thing that's really going to advance into technology is like, in my opinion, I think that pancake games are out the way. And one thing, while we're talking about how processing is going to work and how fast and how beautiful games are going to be, is a good segue into talking about Bone Labs right now.
Yeah. I'm
Just
stoked.
yeah. I mean, first of all, what do you all think about the hype drop that they did? I think why has no marketing person just been like, hey, Boneworks? Yeah, I know Boneworks. It was PCVR. Cool. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I couldn't play because I was on standalone, but I heard people had a really good time with it. Oh, here's a trailer for it. Oh, yeah, Bone Labs. Oh, I can play it on Oculus. Okay, cool. Oh, I can get it Thursday. I can get it on Thursday.
That was beautiful, but I did not see that coming. I was just like, that's the way to do it. Like
Like,
just
wow, wow.
stop building up so much anticipation and hype, and then there've been so many. I think that's why they did it too, is because like so many games have done that recently, the past 2 years. Build up so much hype. It looks sick. It looks beautiful, and then released. Here's 18,000 bugs, and all that build up just makes it that much worse. Like if you didn't know it was coming, oh here
Mm-hmm.
it is, and then you're not going to be like, you guys should have had this fixed at launch so much. Like yes, you will feel that way, but in my opinion,
Yeah.
not to like a radical degree.
They've been putting a lot of years into this. This isn't new to them, but I personally think they did it because they know they're done, like you just said. But I think that they really just, you know what? It's like now is the time. If they wait too much longer, they're going to be competing with other games because we got Christmas coming up, right? So
Yeah.
the October November rush is when some of the big games come out. It doesn't really look like there's a lot, but there might be. But I think that they just wanted to get it out into the masses because if anything, I think the community's been wanting it. I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah. I agree with
it's
that.
just such a good time to release it. Yeah, it's a little fucking spur of the moment. Yeah, I get that. But like you guys said, I think they just wanted to say, ta-da, we're done. Like, just go buy it. And I bet you they would have done it the day of, but I bet you Steam or something else wouldn't let them do it, or Oculus even.
I
Yeah.
mean, it really blew me away when they said it was gonna be on Oculus. They really are pushing that hardware as hard as it's gonna be. I just hope you don't get in there and it's gonna render you out of the game. It's just gonna be like, here's
I
something. You know what I mean?
I question that. I question the Oculus version. I'm just saying that now. I could be completely wrong, and I hope I'm not. But this is one of those times where I'm like, PC? Yeah, probably PC. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I might wait a few hours after launch and see how many people complain about the Oculus version, and then I'll buy it. But we'll see.
Yeah, I what's funny too is I from all the games I played on the Quest, like straight from the Quest store, my experience with Resident Evil is like my example of like this is how a good like a big development company or whatever, like Capcom's huge, so they got the money and they got the time to put in the good effort. Like they optimized that game on the Quest store freaking beautifully. It runs really smooth and it looks really clean. Everything sounds good. And
Yeah.
even though it's an old game, but like that's another like perfect example of this is the quality that people should be trying to push out for. Not with like Population 1's a cool game, don't get me wrong, but it looks just awful. Like it looks
Yeah.
so bad. And you
Well,
could tell
did you
they
see what it used to look like?
no. It was even
So
worse.
no, it used to be a PCVR game. It's what they spent their money at, and then Oculus was dumping at, pretty much. I don't know if they got word that they were going to potentially get bought or what, someone had to tell them to start going a direction towards an Oculus or something, because they went from a really nice PCVR version that almost looked like a realistic battle royale, almost like what's the one with the winner and chicken dinner one, PUBG. So it was almost like PUBG-ish in VR. And then all of a sudden, like, there's people that rip the files out from old files from when they were making it in Unity and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden it went from that to this very cartoony type of, PlayStation 2 type vibe, and grainy, just because it was going to be played on the Oculus, and you just can't load a big map and have 18 people in it without having issues. Rendering issues is the biggest thing that's going to kick anyone out.
Unless you program it from the Quest or for the Quest in the beginning, I think. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think they pretty much scratched it and they just built it again. I'm pretty sure they had to rebuild it from the start up. I don't know if that's the full history, but I almost believe I heard that from somebody that they had to do that.
I believe that.
Yeah.
But where is most of the market coming from? Is it coming from Quest players, like owners?
No.
Or is it coming from Stream or Steam?
So Population 1 was a full rounded game. And so when it first started out, when I first started playing, it was just an indie game, And then all of a sudden Meta bought it, which was Facebook at the time, purchased them, and then they had all the money they needed.
Yeah.
And so, but the majority, what was the price of it when it began? I think it was maybe a $30 game.
Yeah.
And I would say they had to make at least a couple $1 million off this game so far, especially with their skins. I mean, not only did they get people to pay for the damn game, but they also did a skin model as well, with, Fortnite. They said, screw Fortnite, we're going to go ahead and sell the game and sell some skins. And Fortnite's free and they sell some skins.
Because they're the only ones. Like, that's what I think is just they know, like, right now, we're the only ones here, so we can just do whatever we want until somebody makes something different, like, make something like this. We're just going to do our thing.
Yeah. In my opinion, I really want a realistic VR battle royale. And I think that Ghost of Tabor is working on something ish like that. I know they said what their game mode's going to be for Ghost of Tabor, but I could also see down the line of someone, if they don't do it and they go with their game mode, someone's eventually going to make a PUBG type VR game. It has to happen. Why not?
There's two actually.
There is one, but
I
heard
downloaded one. I haven't tried it yet, but it's on PCVR. It's not on.
Yeah, it is on the PCVR. Yeah, because
so
the graphics.
Well, 100%. Like, and you can't get a standalone battle royale game that's going to be able to run on that hardware. It's just not. And I think that's what we limit ourselves on the Quest, is we are limited to what we can, and that's why so many of us plug into PCs. We love the Quest. I'm a huge advocate for it.
Yeah, me too.
But you want the games that you want to play,
Yep.
you're gonna have to get a sick computer and plug into it.
Exactly. And that's the number one reason why I am getting building a brand new PC, and pretty much probably gonna put the 4090 in and not to worry about it for a while, because anything with a 4090, and if I I do a 4090 with an i9 processor, and as long as I have big enough power bank, I don't really need, maybe 1 terabyte. And then maybe I'm probably gonna go for 32 gigs. That's gonna be good for a while. I'm gonna be.
You say that until the 5090 comes out.
Oh jeez.
20 times the processing power.
In 8 months.
Yeah, exactly.
8 months, yeah. Well, good for them. Then they look at money. But so I've been I never really got too much into Boneworks, and I know they have BONELABS coming out. Have any of you guys legit like actually played it yet?
Not on my end.
No, I haven't. I played Bone Labs. I have Bone Labs, but Boneworks. But I I don't know. I think there's some part of me that kind of gets bored of the repetition. Like there's a lot of cool stuff to do, don't get me wrong, but I just found that I got bored really quickly. However, in stating that, the new Bone Labs is supposed to be complete, give you a little bit more of a feel, and especially with that, like being able to change your avatar in mid game and stuff, like that's pretty sick.
Yeah,
And if
it's
they're gonna be,
clever.
and they're telling you you're gonna have now here's the part that confuses me. They're saying that you're gonna be able to customize your avatars to fit when you need, and then it's gonna create all the models. They're all gonna change up to that avatar and stuff like that. That's great. But I really want to know how it works on the Quest because again, you're dumping more stuff into the Quest. How big is this game going to be? Because there are some games that we've downloaded for the Quest that are like, you can download like 2 games and then your hard drive's full, and then you're going, well, that was great. That was an okay game, but now I got to dump that one so that I can put the rest of the
So
games on there.
why has the Quest not allowed you to be on a cloud yet? Why is
No
gaming
idea.
not on clouds
Well, the
yet?
Pico has the extendable hard drive, which is going to be a game changer. They got the
Which would
Yeah.
be a
micro
cloud,
SD.
right?
No, it's a
Yeah.
micro
Oh, it's an
SD.
SD.
Yeah,
Oh, so they're going Nintendo style.
yep, it's smart.
Yeah.
I get it. It's smart, but why do these micro SDs? Those things freaking break. They're small. You lose them. We have
And they're cheap.
we have clouds.
But that's you got to pay a subscription. Why not just pay 30
1
bucks
terabyte
now?
for 99 cents.
30 bucks now and then you're good. Like you don't have and you can just store it like when you don't have to pay a subscription. You're not like you can just you can hand it off to your friend, let your friend borrow a game or two if you have them on this SD and you want
Yeah,
to use your other one.
yeah.
It's
Fair enough.
almost like having a disc to a degree, like bringing it back, but I mean,
It sounds like someone from a Nintendo's went over to work for Pico.
Well, even Oculus, like the Meta, like the back end version of you sharing your photos when you have the headset on is the most useless way I've ever seen. Like I have to go through 4 steps just to grab a photo and share it where I want to. Like it'll allow me to share places,
Dude, it's the
but
worst to share.
I mean, why do they do that? It's so silly. Like it just let me be able to download it onto my phone or stream
Just
it
let me
to
email it,
something
you
else.
know?
Let me
Yeah.
email it. Yeah, like anything is better than this stupid app that I got to use every time.
Yeah, everything's through Facebook. I'm like, then once you get to Facebook, if it's a video, you can't rip it. Like, if a video is on your Facebook, there's no way to save that video out unless you screen record your own phone.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
But
so they make it so hard.
well, I downloaded through the phone app, and then well, actually, because it takes so damn long for it to actually sync from my headset to my app, I have to go into the headset and I have to tell it to sync to my phone so that I can get it there faster. And then once I get there, I just share it to my Dropbox, and then I got to share it from my Dropbox to download it onto my fucking phone again. Like I literally have to download it onto my phone twice. It's the
Yeah.
stupidest thing I've ever seen.
So
Ah.
I have a major question on this Pico thing. As we know that it's from the Asian continent, which is well known for making Nintendo and stuff like that, right? And they're also good at making other technology as well. But with it coming from that region and not owned by Facebook or have some threshold of some multi-billionaire that
TikTok.
that doesn't know, it's TikTok, right? Do you think they might be the very first VR headset to make deals with Nintendo and make a Pokemon VR game or make a Mario VR game? Because it's bound to happen that Nintendo is, for one, I doubt Nintendo will ever make their own VR headset. I feel like they're going to partner with somebody.
What are you talking about? They did. It was amazing.
What, back in the 90s?
No, the cardboard one.
Oh,
You don't remember that one?
Oh.
no, they made one back in like the 90s, right?
Yeah. I know that, but they also made the cardboard one where you put the fucking the switch onto.
Yeah.
I would imagine my thought is because like Pokemon Go is so
Cardboard.
successful that they'll do some more XR type stuff once they come out with like the glasses, like the XR glasses and stuff. I can see that.
Yeah, I agree with the XR point. I think that's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more. That's going to be more of a all these like mobile games and stuff. Those will just transfer over to XR, and then the VR space in my head is just going to be more for the serious games and a few games for like the kids and stuff too. But for the most part, yeah, XR is going to be that like casual Candy Crush, tower defense vibes and Pokemon Go stuff.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that eventually, the XR and the AR will play a major part with like at-home activities. So imagine having a life-sided board of Life. Instead of buying the game Life, your whole family has a family package where you just all put on glasses. You show it your play space, and it pops up the board there. And
Yeah.
then you don't have to worry about doing an accounting, having a banker. It does it all for you.
Yeah, doing all that
Yeah.
counting and stuff. Hell no.
Exactly. I can't cheat anymore. I can't just steal $100 bills here and there.
Nope.
But also another thing, as we're talking about like pushing technology to the max, another thing that's coming out soon is also pushing the Quest 2 to the max. I don't know if you saw this. I was literally watching Mateo 311 like probably 30 minutes before this podcast because he had a new video that came out, and he was talking about VR doing hand motion tracking. You'll actually be able to have feet now, and you'll actually be walking around. And so it's not 100% true to your nature of what you're doing because there's no actual tracking to you, but there is AI technology that is guessing on what your feet are doing.
Like autocorrect.
Yes. Oh, yes. Correctly.
And
almost like
how well
autocorrect.
does that work?
Yeah. And so you'll definitely have to watch the video. I'm gonna see if I can't get Olen to pull it up on his
Do you
screen.
think that that's going to cause
Yeah, I got
more
it.
motion sickness towards people playing VR?
As long as they don't look down at their feet.
Yeah, that'll make
Um,
you sick. Like, how are my legs like floating right now? And they're broken. I broke my legs. But yeah, I got it on
Yeah.
screen, and there's always that demo. They can make it look perfect in that the most ideal scenario. But
Right.
yeah,
Dude,
I
I'm loving this freaking screen. This is an awesome screen up there.
mean, yeah.
Cole, you're gonna have to check this out. I'm amazed right now. Sorry I had a break conversation. I guess this thing keeps on popping up with the video. I'm like, I could never do this because I have a sucky PC right now. I need my 4090, gosh darn it.
Yeah. Oh. So I mean, I guess it makes sense because they're going to be doing it with trackers. They're camera tractors on your legs, or tractors, but trackers like little wristbands on your ankles. That makes sense how they can make that work. But you'll have to really see. Like it's going to be interesting too to see how you have like how the Pico is going to operate compared to the Quest. Like you have, it's like yeah, like Asian Asian software and how everything works compared to Meta, because I feel like the way their menus work and like their store and how accessible it is and everything is good, and they update it a
What
lot.
is Asian software?
Well, like so
You caught
WhatsApp
me
for
off guard on that one.
so I
I'm really
used to
interested in this.
okay, so little context. I used to work for a vape wholesaler, and
Uh-huh.
our a lot of primary suppliers and the people who make like the big name brands that people who do vape are familiar with. It's all Chinese, and you go to their websites and see how they code their websites, and you see how they make their actual products on top of seeing like they'll hand you their phone. Oh yeah, put in your WhatsApp, or WeChat, excuse me, put in your WeChat, and yeah, you can see how it looks so much different than like American like an iPhone for example. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
different style, so that'll be
Yeah.
interesting too to see how the style is like compared to the Meta Quest for example. It'll be two entirely different looking like interfaces for sure. But yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I just I would like to. I'd be okay with seeing feet, and like even in contractors, they have an option to show your body or not.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Show torso or not. And I like to see the torso. It's just like if not, I just have floating shit. That's also along the side of like how immersive do you really want to get into it. Like I think it's cool seeing where the holster is at and everything like that compared to the body ratio.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? But with people moving it, but I don't know how much this is really going to play a part in average games. I think this is going to be really big in games like VR chat. Will probably be the biggest one that's going to be used in,
Pro-
just because they have the nightclubs and they have all the cults where they might like to see each other's feet. Who knows? Uh,
Yeah,
but
and fitness
also
too.
Beat
That's
Saber,
another
yeah,
emphasis.
fitness, yeah. Oh man, I about said a bad joke with fitness. Oh man, I gotta stop.
Yeah,
I'm on a roll.
yeah. I set you up a little bit too much
Yeah,
there.
you
That's my
set me
bad.
up too much there. I had to bite my freaking tongue on that one.
Yeah, but
Let's
the
just say
Pico does look pretty sick though, honestly. Like for what the hardware they're trying to they're actually are putting in there,
it's
it
not
looks worth it.
groundbreaking though. Not groundbreaking.
The,
Like I was watching someone's video and they said compared, it's not an Oculus killer.
yeah,
And if
everybody
you look at the
uses that.
Pico,
That's
yeah,
clickbait.
they use Oculus Killer as a clickbait. There is one new headset coming out I would like to talk about that will probably kill the Oculus as long as they get the price down. But we'll get to that in a second. But with the Pico compared to the Oculus, yeah, it's gonna be a fresh thing. You're probably people are always worried about Facebook controlling your information. You have to be logged into Facebook. You have to have a Facebook account. You know, they're tracking you regardless, even with you don't know it or not. Even when
Yeah.
you get on your phone, if you have a phone, they're tracking you no matter what. But with this Pico Neo thing, a lot of people are scared about that because it's owned by TikTok, which we already know that almost got banned in the United States because of our current president at the time, which was Donald Trump. He was very against the tracking, and he almost completely said no TikTok because we know for a fact in their terms and the conditions. I've had people that read that and show that they are literally gathering every data. They see their algorithm is disgusting. And that's
Yeah.
why it's so successful because per the person who is watching it, it checks how you swipe it, who you click on, and what you're viewing. If you're a 12-year-old boy that's in his adolescence life and his pubescent life, and he's been flipping on a whole bunch of bikini girls, guess what? He's just gonna be getting bikini girls.
Yeah,
Me, I
but
like it.
the aspect of it that was messed up wasn't just like, yes, they're tracking your every single movement on the app, but from what I remember, like it was a leak essentially. Like I think it was a Reddit leak where the guy's like, "Yeah, my job is to literally reverse engineer everything and every app I could find. TikTok was one of them, and I wish I could remember or I had it pulled up, but they literally track everything on your phone, and they have access to anything on your phone at any given time that they want to, supposedly. Like
Yeah.
not, I shouldn't say everything, but generally like all the relevant stuff on your phone, like the
And
microphone.
it must be me. I'm just not scared of that stuff.
I
Me
don't give
neither,
a shit.
honestly. Yeah,
I
me
really,
neither.
really don't care.
Yeah,
I get people are all about like people are listening to us. I'm sorry, but we're at such technology in the age that we live in that if you're really doing bad shit, they're going to find out who you are. I'm doing nothing. I'm a small Joe Schmo doing a VR podcast that likes to play VR and create an esports team, and that's about it. If
yeah.
you want to get on my browser and watch how much things I'm Googling, I'm not gonna say it out loud because I don't want people in my house to understand what I'm Googling, but they know. I probably have a CIA agent that's watching me every day going, "You disgusting person. You're
This
so
guy's
gross.
despicable, and then he's doing the
Why
same
would you
thing
even
right
Google
afterward.
that?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
100%.
Exactly.
If anybody wants to actually see that stuff, I mean, go for it. Like, but
Exactly. Yeah.
sorry for your, loss
Look,
of
I think
innocence.
everybody has their own choices. You don't
Yeah.
want to be on Facebook? Don't be on Facebook.
Exactly.
You don't want to hook into you don't want to be on TikTok? Don't be on TikTok.
If you don't
Just
want to show your face, don't do it.
Yeah,
don't do it.
exactly.
But what
Why do I have
pisses
this
me
in my hand?
off is all these people talk about this, and they're the exact same people that are on TikTok and on Facebook daily. Like if
Yeah.
the hypocritical people are the ones that bitch about it the most. I don't care.
Yeah.
And like you
Yeah.
said, if somebody's watching me, buddy, you have your own problems then. If you're watching,
You're gonna have PTSD from me.
yeah, like there's no real reason for it. And when I work in the industry of security, I know for a fact
Yeah.
that people don't watch you as much as you think they do. Not you guys, but the people that are complaining. We don't have those resources that people think that the world has. There's not a billion people watching monitors or checking data all day long. Yes, data is stored. I totally agree with that. But it's not somebody sitting there in a monitor anymore going, oh, look what he's watching. That was
Yeah.
10 years ago, 15 years ago. That was during the
Cold
Snowden
War.
days. Like
Yeah.
that's not what we do
Snowden
anymore.
days, yeah.
There's no point in doing that. And plus, information goes so fast, and the amount of stuff that the government can now get picked on for, or like even like you just said, like TikTok was this guy comes up and says, I took this apart. Now I know exactly what they're looking for. That happens all the time now. We can do that. The regular person can do that nowadays. Companies don't like to do that because they're just going to get caught out, and
Yeah.
they're going to be standing there with their wiener hanging out. Like everybody knows about all
Don't
this
want
stuff.
that. That's uncomfortable and cold.
Especially here in Canada, it is.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I'm not too worried about for that, but like I said, when it comes to these two headsets, through the specs and through the lenses, no one's doing anything spectacular yet.
No, I
You
agree.
know, you
The-
might, and so here's the thing
The
as well.
PlayStation is
So
the only one in my
I was
head
actually going to
that's
say that.
yeah, the only
so
one
the
that's like
PlayStation one's the new PlayStation one's pretty sweet. But that's not a groundbreaking one because PlayStation is still siloed. If they can get that away
yeah.
and make it a Sony exclusively, get rid of the PlayStation. But the reason why they need the PlayStation, because I don't know if people
To
know
sell
this,
it
but
in the first place.
the
Like
PlayStation is a glorified computer.
yeah.
You have a PCVR, but we're going to go ahead and call it PSVR because you're on a freaking PlayStation.
hmm
But it is a beautiful headset, but you are still wired in and everything like that. That's why it's spec better. But the thing with the Pico Neo, it has such a huge battery, and a lot of people are trying to figure out the battery life because they're just like, oh yeah, you have 4K, it's gonna be 4K resolution, all this stuff where you can see it. It's gonna be nice and clean. You're probably still gonna be running on the same frames, even though it's 4K. Who cares? But then they have a battery. They have the like a pro headset built in, but you're still only getting about 2 hours of life. You're still getting about the same amount of play as a Oculus, but you have a bigger battery on it because I think that they're using a lot of the pancake screen type of layout to power everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the big one I was talking about is the Deckard.
Yes, I think everybody who's like familiar with like high fidelity or like familiar with everything going on with PCVR is just waiting on the Deckard more than anything else. Like, yeah, this is like a distraction. This is like, hey, this will hold you over until the Deckard comes out, and it's gonna be ridiculous.
And that's what's kind of irritating me right now because I'm getting a PC in November, right? I'm gonna instantly go to PCVR because I'm definitely gonna start amping up my streaming because then I can actually have a decent stream because I will have to be wired in unless I want to use the Airlink, which isn't the greatest. But like, what would someone recommend to me to get with PCVR? Should I just go ahead and get the Index?
I don't.
Yeah, in my head,
Is
yeah.
that still a viable thing to buy, or should I
Yeah.
just hold off with my Oculus until the Deckard comes out?
I'm
That's what
surprised they haven't lowered the price. Honestly, that $1,000 price tag is pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
Why lower it when no one's competing with them?
I mean, you have the Vive, and they have headsets coming out
Well,
like
HTC Vive is a doo-doo headset. There's
they're
only
co-
one
but you
headset
have
that
the HP Reverb, you have the I mean
with the alien-looking one.
yeah, and the controllers on the top with the lights on it. Apparently, like the resolution on that one is the best to just use as like a primary headset for like racing sims and stuff. Like that's like the main
Oh,
thing from what I've seen because
dude,
its quality's so good. But the tracking and like the controllers are funky from what I hear.
that big VR YouTuber just talked about this new headset. It's a PCVR, but it's like this wide, and you can
Pimax?
see. Yeah, Pimax. Yeah, that.
Oh
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
no.
yeah. No.
Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is that the YouTuber you're talking about?
No,
Or
that's the
headset?
headset.
Oh, Pimax. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was about to say that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the dude that why can I not remember his name? It's Thriller or Striller or whatever
Thrill
his name
Seeker.
is. Yeah, there we go. He's the one that had a YouTube video on it.
See,
Yeah.
I think for these headsets, I think you got to look at their end goal. What are they trying to generate? Are they just selling headsets? Because the reason Quest got so far ahead of everybody is because they're doing games, they're doing headsets, they got their store, they just got so much crap going on. that it's easy for them to be able to bring their price down. And yeah, we talked about this last time. Yeah, people complain about their price going down and then going up, but realistically, they're still going to sell headsets, whether they're at $699 or $899. They're still going to sell headsets.
And you can find them in the first place, unlike any other new console that you want to get. I mean, that worked out in their favor too. Is like everybody wants a PS5, everybody wants an Xbox. Well, I forgot what it was, Xbox Series X or whatever, and you can't
Yeah,
get it.
Series
So like
X.
now you just revert to, I want a new piece of hardware at least for Christmas. I'm getting the Quest.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and that's what happened last year. That's what happened in 2020. Like when I still cannot find till this day. The PlayStation 5 has been out for what, 3 years now? I believe 2-3 years.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's been out longer than it's time flew during COVID, but still to this day, I cannot walk into a Best Buy or a GameStop and secure myself a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
They're not there. Like, where the hell are they all at? Did they just not make as many? Like, they got to be somewhere. There's no way that all these people that bought like 10 of them, because a lot of people were using the algorithm when Sony puts it out there. They have an algorithm that they run that buys it all up for them and puts them in first in line.
Yeah.
So they can scalp them.
So RuckUp, what was the point? I think I might have interrupted you. You're saying the end user, something about the goal?
No, I just like what is the end because if you're going to lower the price of the headset, you have to have another stream of income coming off of that, right? So
Yeah.
like what is it if creating a headset's a good thing, but if you don't have the market for it and you're competing against other such as Oculus, you're going to have to do something. Your hardware is not going to cut the deal. It's going to cut the deal for us, people like us sitting here, but your average consumer that buys VR headsets, they don't give a fuck if it's like certain frame rates higher or not. They don't care.
They don't
They're
even
just
know.
They
Yeah.
don't even know, right? And it's the same as the Xbox and PlayStation. Most people still have the old ones because to them it's no different right now. And I think that's where these VR headsets, they just got to kind of, well, I'm sure they have. They got multi-million-dollar marketing departments and resources for it. But like, what if they can lower the prices on these great headsets, then throw it into somewhere else?
I would
Games.
say maybe if like the Pico, for example, had a way to access the Steam store and go to your Steam library, then
Right.
that's going to be like the biggest thing for
Game
everybody. Is
changer.
like, yeah.
They will be able to. I mean, anyone can link to Steam. You're just gonna have to be.
Well,
linked
no,
in.
like you don't have, like it's still standalone. You don't have to have a PC. You can download it onto the headset.
I don't think Steam would allow that because Steam is going to be made. I thought they had their own headset.
Yeah, but I mean, why? I mean, it's more revenue, more people buying their games. So like,
So, but the one thing that I've noticed is that when it comes to Oculus, Pico, PSVR, and then PCVR, is that in order for you to run it and be successful with having your own product and making not only like having a library, yeah, they could link to Steam and everything, but then they would have to be Steam exclusive because now with Pico Neo making their own store and Oculus making their own store, they can have exclusive content. And the reason why exclusive content exists is because if a really badass AAA game came out on Pico Neo, how many people would drop their Oculus and go to Pico?
I think it depends on pricing.
And yeah, it depends on pricing, but that's why they do it. How many people love God of War? Why do people buy the PlayStation?
I wish there was like a poll, like somebody has like data out there, like okay, for all the people who played The Last of Us and God of War, how much of this was a dictator of you buying this PlayStation specifically for these games?
Just pull data on Halo. I guarantee that if you look at the statistics that every time a Halo game came out, the price of Xbox probably skyrocketed.
No, not the price. Definitely, they're not going to change the price just around
not the price. Sorry, not the price. The
amount of units sold.
Sales, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Sorry,
but I find that funny because like for myself, I would never buy a game buy a system based on a game.
Yeah.
Never in my life. I've always stuck with Xbox, which is a stupid idea anyway. But I've always thought that I've always just liked games, so I'm going to play the games that come with the Xbox or whatever it may be, or PC. I'm trying to think if I even know anybody who's bought a game based on or bought a system based on a game. And you have? Okay, so what did you guys buy?
I had blue balls because I got it for Death Stranding because I was so hyped on everything, and then it was trash. in my opinion.
Really?
It was they made the trailers look actiony, the story look incredible. Like for me, when I first saw the trailer, I went deep into Reddit and like tried to do all the theories and stuff. And like it's crazy how some of them were right. But yeah, it just turned out to be a walking simulator. You just climb around everywhere, and you're carrying packages. You have a gun maybe at the last 80% of the game. Like you get to 80%, you have a gun for 2 minutes, and then that's it. And
Oh,
yeah, and I returned that, and then I got my Oculus Quest 1. That was the very that's actually how that led up to that. Honestly, that's funny. And
interesting.
yeah, but other than that, like, but it was when I got that too. How I rationalized it in my head was like, I'm gonna get Death Stranding, but I'm also gonna get God of War, and I'm
Yeah,
also
yeah,
gonna be able
yeah,
to play The
yeah,
Last of Us. So like, it's
yeah.
like it's a buildup of all these exclusives that you have. So you can't just have like maybe
So
one or two.
here are these titles for PlayStation exclusive, right? Ready for this? And these are some AAA games. And this is why
Horizon too.
I've stuck. Well, this is why I've stuck for PlayStation forever. And Horizon's one that I mean, they're PlayStation's getting kind of friendly where they're starting to allow things to go out to the PCVR world, but they're not going to share the Xbox. You know, even though if Windows gets their hands on it, Windows is still Xbox. You know, Microsoft is still that's still going to be some way to play it if they have the same store.
And by
But
the
you know,
way,
you have
why is COD not an exclusive to Xbox? Because they're now owned by freaking
because the
Microsoft.
contract's not up yet.
Oh shit!
They still have contracts. That's why.
Wow, they got lucky.
Yep. So I think it's for
Losers.
the next 5 years. I think there's still contracts for the next. I think when they bought it, there was still a 5 year contract on it. So I think they're probably in the works. They're making exclusive, and that's people should really
That's gonna
worry
be
about that.
rough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have Kingdom Hearts, Ratchet and Clank, Spider-Man, Horizons. You know the second one, Bloodborne, God of War, The Last of Us, Last of Us 2, Ghost. Shirashima, I
Tsushima.
think there's Shirashima, and then you have Days Gone, and then two other ones I can't even see what they're called. But still, those are like, in my opinion, the best games I've ever played in my life.
Which all those are on PC now. That's why I'm just
Yeah,
like
they are now.
I'm
Yeah,
not a
but are
console
they on
gamer
Xbox?
anymore.
Are they on? Yeah.
True. Yeah. I see.
So here's a question
I
for
just
you.
wanted to be a dick.
Yeah. What keeps you guys on the quest?
Nothing.
What keeps me on the quest?
Nothing?
Yeah. No.
Nothing.
Oh no. Yeah.
As
Like
soon as
I
as soon as
got
I
I
get my
bought
PC, I'm gone.
I bought an index because I wanted to. I had to make mounts for them, so I got an index, and
Yeah.
I have had tracking issues with the base stations and all that controllers. But once you get that settled, once you get your situation fixed up, the FOV, the comfort of the headset, the controllers, the way they feel in your hands, the finger tracking, it's just right there. It's so good. And the FOV in my head, though, or in my opinion, is by far the biggest game changer for everything. It's just how much you feel in the game more. You
Yeah.
don't know until you do it. That's another thing. We just don't know. But like you
Yeah.
have this, you going from this to like this, and it's almost like your entire face, like your entire eyes are covered in screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I'm jealous.
So like yeah,
So
so that's why somebody was saying like, "Hey, should I get the index?" I was like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but like it's if you really look at the index though, it's kind of old software. And
oh,
that's
it
what
is now,
scares me.
yeah.
It is now.
But
And that's what scares me is that I'm in this weird limbo that in the next 2 years there's rumors to be some really badass headsets coming out. But it's just like I want to play PCVR now, and yeah, I know I could still play my Quest with AirLink or link into the cable, but I'm still not getting the true PCVR experience that I would get from like the Index.
yeah.
I think that So for instance, Valve, it's at 140 hertz, and then Quest 2 maxes at 120.
But
And
it's
so
native 140.
yeah, native 140. But I've talked to people I've talked to people that are playing at like 240 hertz, and he's like, from 140 to 240 is really not that big. Like you don't see it. Your
Yeah.
eyes cannot.
I saw
Your
that
eyes
video.
cannot
Did
do
you see
that.
that video from I think it was Linus Tech Tips where they did they got like the top like esports players in the world, put them in a room and they're like, we're gonna test them. We're gonna put them on these different monitors and see if their performance changes. And it was like 60 to 120, pretty good jump. 120 to like 160, even better jump. And then they did
Mhm.
300. They're like, dude, there was nothing there. I couldn't see a difference. So it's like, Yeah, like you're saying, like there's just a
Yeah.
limit to how much you can see. So,
Yeah,
and motion
it
sickness too, though. That's like a higher refresh rate, the less likely you're prone to get
Right.
motion sickness.
and that's true, and I think that's why some games have trouble going to Quest as well, because they've noticed that their game is making people sick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Vale made
I've
my
heard about
girlfriend
that.
sick. Vale made my
Yeah,
girlfriend puke.
you said that. Yeah.
It was bad. Yeah, I felt bad for her because she's never played, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, you're going to the event. You got to be familiar with Vale. You got to get your hands on it. And then she's good. All of a sudden, she takes a few steps, and I was like, all right, take it off, run, run to the
Yeah.
bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we talked about all the technology and everything, and like I definitely want to talk about, well, so we talked about BONELABS, but there's also been some really cool updates. And one thing that was like very close to me is the lovely game Larcenauts, which I have to talk about. Just because I don't know if any of you guys have played Larcenauts, and
Not yet.
if you have not,
What
I
games
do.
before you go into that RuckUp? What games do you prefer playing usually? I know you're into a lot of fitness lately, from what I hear.
Yeah,
Oh, stop saying that. You're leading
I'm
me into something.
I'm always into fitness once a day on the VR and then hit the weights after that. But no, to be honest, I'm all over the map. All over the map. Like today I might play like a tower defense game and I'll totally be into that. Or else like I purchased a shit ton of games. I don't know why, but I bought an ATV simulator. I bought like Alien Dawn. I'm playing that one. The old Wolfenstein. Like I'm all over the place. I can't
Yeah.
even I couldn't even give you a game that I played for longer than an hour. And that's shitty because I actually do like a lot of these games, but I don't, my mind right now is in kind of just trying to adapt and catch up to the rest of the
Yeah.
people that have been in
Yeah.
VR way longer than I have. So I'm like, fuck, I got to figure out all these games and like I must have a couple hundred that I'm even free ones like and I want to say this I don't want to go too off kilter here but I want to say this to everybody too is there's a lot of good free games that people can play out there
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think people realize that there's a lot of great demos, great free games. There's a lot of stuff that people can go to that doesn't cost $30-$40. So we're talking about big name games here, but there's a lot of great independent dev teams that are making some great games,
Yeah.
not just for free, but for like $5 or $10 or $15. Like I stress to people, go look at these games. Don't judge them yet. Like go look at them. There's great games
Is
out
there
there.
one you want me to pull up on screen, like maybe a trailer or like a video of it?
Ultimax.
There you
Ultimax.
go.
Have you played that yet, by the way?
I have, yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna be a pro in that game. I'm already declaring it. Like it, I will destroy anyone in that game.
Yeah,
Like
so it's like a cross of Rocket League and Rocket League, right?
Rocket
Yeah.
League and Rocket League, exactly.
Rocket League.
It's a game that was the beta has been going on. They kind of pushed this game out pretty quick. I think I heard about this game a year ago. And they pushed out the beta, and then like I said, they did a preseason, and now they finally released it last week. And it was very impressive in my opinion for the launch it had with barely any complaints from the community, because I always tell people all the time the number one killer when it comes to making a game is how much people bitch. If you make a crappy game and people bitch about it, guess what? Your game's not going anywhere. That's one reason why there's what game and like so like
Rainbow Six is one of those like few. That's the first thing that came to my mind though, is like the whole devil's advocate thing. That's what I do, by the way. But like, yeah, I thought of Rainbow Six and then Fortnite. Like Fortnite made their those are like the two diamonds in the rough, I guess. But like, you can always
Yeah.
bounce back if you like really work hard. Cyberpunk, same
yeah.
kind of scenario. Like they were trash in the beginning, but I've been hearing a lot of good about them lately.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's this one police disturbance VR. I honestly I can't get enough of it. It's a silly base game, but it's just so much fun. Like and the graphics, this is the thing, is like if you took that game and you put it on a flat screen, you say play this, I'd literally laugh in your face. But as soon as you put it in the VR and you start playing any of these types of games, like especially
Yeah.
ones with lower graphics or something, you're just like, whoa, what is this? Like this is so cool. I mean, this is weird, but it's cool. and it just turns it into this completely different environment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's showing anyone on screen. That's why I wonder if that's the reason why VR Twitch streaming hasn't really gone off as much, because if even when you're capturing it into the streaming service, maybe Liv, who helps people stream better quality stuff, maybe give people an actual fisheye view of like what they're actually visually seeing instead of this boring flat screen. This is kind of what they're seeing type scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and videos will literally never serve justice to the full experience, sadly. And I feel like they're gonna have a really hard time, really like with YouTube, and that's where a lot of gamers go to like see about games and stuff and to
Yeah.
watch trailers. They're gonna have to really evolve and really do something really creative with how they start presenting their games and game trailers to people. Because right now, you watch a game, like, unless you're really experienced, okay, this concept is really cool, but until you really feel it and attract new people in general, just to come pick up and try, that's like the biggest challenge, I think.
I agree 100%.
This video of these police people getting shot is kind of comical.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, back onto Larcenauts. So Larcenauts, like we were saying, was another game that just had a horrible launch day. Like, it was not ideal. It didn't work on people that were using Steam. I think even to this day, it's at 0 for Steam players right now. It's all Oculus, but basically it was just a dying game, and they promised update after update. And at one point for Havoc, we had the #1 team in the world, which for Larcenauts, out of what 5 or 6 teams, that not that impressive, but still it's cool to be the most dominant team in that game.
Yeah.
And so we all pretty much left, and then they finally just released a decent update, and I went and played it, and they did some really good improvements. But if they go on this joyride, and if they just don't keep fixing it, they're just like, oh, people love it now, we're done here again.
Someone's gonna do it better. Someone's gonna do it better. I mean, so there's always gonna be competition. Right now there's less, but like somebody's always coming in. Like, just for me, speaking personally on this, like, I'm always worried, when is Razer, when is Corsair, when are all these massive companies gonna step into VR? Maybe not them specifically, and start making like gun stocks and stuff. Like, I watch the people in my industry in general right now, and it's still very, very small. But it's only a matter of time before someone's like, I've got $1 million on hand. I'm gonna throw it to this guy's idea, and he's gonna make a fully integrated gun stock with this and that, this and that, this and that. Something I'd never be able to accomplish at scale. And so yeah, I mean, like, it's just a matter of time. Especially like, yeah, pretty much. They have a cool concept here. It could be good. You can get that core audience if you stay on top of it and keep implementing new things. But pretty much just preaching the same thing over and over. So sorry about that.
It's all good. It's true, though. It is true.
This is like the inner dialogue in my head all the time.
Or you can just sell the Razer.
What's that? Oh yeah, sell the Razer. That's what my buddy says. He's like, dude, right now, like, you should be more worried about when you're gonna get bought out instead of like doing this thing. I'm just like, no, I don't. I want to be in it forever, dude. Like, I want to be in VR forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
I definitely, there's no stopping VR. I think the only people that are going to ruin VR is the people that create VR themselves, especially like Meta. They make some very interesting decisions that really turn people off of VR. But another good update that I played the other day was after the fall update. And it's so sad because I want to freaking love this game so much, because there's nothing like killing zombies and stuff. But man, I can only play it for an hour.
Me too.
Like,
Yeah.
That's all I'm good at. Once an hour happens, I'm like, I'm doing the same shit over and over again.
Yeah, it looks repetitive. Like, it's fine on flat screen when you're sitting down, but like,
Yeah, and I think the point system, I think, is a little, like, I love it. I love the micromanaging portions of games where you get to like level up and stuff, but I think that's just for this one here, for me, it just doesn't feel like accomplishment. Like there wasn't enough to give me as a player to maybe want to proceed on to keep going. Like I agree with you 100%. I think that an hour is like tops, and that's not every day. Like that's once in a
Yeah.
month or like
Yeah,
once in every 3
exactly.
You
weeks
get that
or
Yeah.
something
little
like
itch.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to kind of go back and shoot. Like there's other games that I can name that are personally that I like better zombie games. Like even some of the mods that you can play are better than that. But um yeah, I loved the competitive, like the online and the multiplayer. I thought that was great. But the one thing that really, really, really made me mad about the game is the stupidity of the AI. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. Like I couldn't even get through a whole map without shooting my players like 10 times. And it doesn't do much, but kept
Yeah.
getting in my way every single time.
Yeah, they're not very smart. I think the only reason why I ever liked an AI is because they have random stems that will heal you.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's about it. But it's I just maybe it's a mechanical error, and I really liked their multiplayer at the time, but it just is dead as hell as well.
Yeah.
But
Do you think it's because of the quality or because of the format?
I think it's the format. I don't think there's anything wrong with the quality. I do think that sometimes some rooms are too dark and I have a really hard time seeing shit. Which is a problem in VR. I mean, if you're going for a scary, slow game, something might jump out at me. Cool, be dark. But this is a fast pace. You're called runners for a reason. You're
Yeah.
running and gunning. If I can't see things, that's kind of a problem. And it's like, and sometimes I don't feel like the headshots are quite on there. And sometimes the guns are kind of wonky on how you're grabbing. They don't allow you to switch on how you're reloading a gun and how you're grabbing. Like I think you have to turn on a certain setting so you just don't even release the gun and keep dropping on the damn floor. Um, their newest updates that they've had brought like an LMG. The LMG was pretty cool.
I think that
Um,
just to kind of speak on, I'm not trying to like steer away from the topic, but mainly I was thinking that like a lot of companies right now are really trying to just stick with what works on the flat screen world, and they're trying to just convert that over to be like the first ones to do it in VR. Some of them do work, like yeah, Vale has like the CS:GO type vibes, but this is kind of like a Left 4 Dead scenario, and
Yeah.
yes, it's
I
interesting in the
agree.
beginning, but I feel like you really got to get really experimental. I was watching TBG the other day playing some it looked like an Avatar Airbender game, and he was like lifting up rocks from the dirt and like doing a move and kicking it out, and I was like, that's the kind of stuff where like the fighting like the different creative formats are going to be the ones that really hold. That's where you'll find like the long term like
I agree.
playability, I think.
yeah,
I
that's why I'm
agree.
waiting for a badass MMO to come out.
Right.
I
Like
think that's why a lot of, yeah, I was gonna say MMO or like VR horror games are big. I think that's why
Phasmophobia, dude. Why can I not bring that to Oculus?
because it would look like shit.
I know, but that's one game that when I start streaming and playing PCVR, I will be getting on that game so I can scream my little girl
I'm
pants
excited
off.
for you, dude. Yeah,
It's an awesome game. It's
yeah.
so much fun.
I haven't played that game, but I'm excited for you to just get on that whole new level of being able to try everything, essentially.
But I honestly think that if you're speaking graphically, a game that would work in the horror scene that gets a lot of attention would be Dead by Daylight. That'd be a perfect
Yeah.
Oculus game.
Hell
That'd be
yeah.
Yeah.
perfect for Oculus.
They
You
have
know
Yeah.
that.
what
They
someone
have
would
that.
be
They have that in Steam right now. They have a game. I forgot what it's called. I played it with Short Stack and what's the other? Soul
and it's
BC.
VR.
It's VR. Soul BC, by the way. If nobody knows that guy, you should check out his channel. He was always the killer, and that
Mm-hmm.
guy is like he should be a VR actor. That's what we were saying. He is so convinced, like, cause you hear the guy, he can talk in game, so you hear him from far away. He's dressed as like a psycho clown, but he like gets into character crazy, and it translates to VR beautifully. It looks like shit, honestly, and it's just like
Yeah.
one of those kind of cheaper $4 games, but it's a good experience if you got the right people to play with for sure.
I've
Huh.
actually seen that game. I haven't played it yet, but it's like, yeah, it's like $5 or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, were you talking about Where was it? I just passed it. Uh, oh, I was gonna say you were talking about updates. Into the Radius had an update. That's a great game.
I've heard a lot about that one.
Great
I
game.
I haven't played it yet. Is it worth buying?
Yeah.
It's a great game, but don't buy it.
Yeah, it's a great game. Don't buy it. No, it's one of those games.
It
It's
just
just,
it just came out
it's
this
just
month, right?
I think it's been out for a little. It might have been. I know because I played it a little. I played it a couple months ago. So, well, yes, on yes, it has. But I totally recommend it. It came out in July actually. But
Yeah,
um,
I knew it was
what?
soon.
Oh, it's just such a good game. That's one of the games. That's one of the few games that I played longer than an hour, guaranteed. But
So,
then
yeah.
survival games, I always play longer than an hour, just because I get too sucked into them and I have to fucking collect everything.
Here's my thing though. The only reason why I'm not buying this game is because it's not multiplayer survival.
This is true.
Yeah,
If
man,
if
I
they
got too.
said down the road they're gonna open it up to multiplayer, I would buy it now and I would get everything I want. Like, so this game right here is a hair off of the MMO that the Division.
All right. Yeah.
Into the Radius?
I'm just saying, like that feel of the apocalyptic type world that it's in ruins and you're in survival because that game is an MMO survival game. It's a looter shooter, which it's like, why can this not be that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
mean,
that's what I'm waiting for. I'm a big MMO guy. Like if they ever made like Destiny and VR, you guys may never hear from me ever again.
I think that goes kind of back to what the point I'm worried about is like they've did like we talked about Zenith last time, and it's like you really have to get creative for it to work. Like yes, you can literally put Destiny into the game. You're holding two guns and you're shooting a lot, but like how it's essentially repetitive, and those repetitive things really weigh on you in VR. I feel like a lot more. So like if you're just gonna be sitting there and aiming for 15 minutes at this giant boss, where you know you gotta chip it away at his health a lot, it's not gonna be as engaging. Like VR is really meant in my head to be more engaging, and there's so much dynamic to it and potential that you can't get away with just a simple looter shooter. Like you gotta do more.
Well, I find in VR when I do more, sometimes it brings me back to my like, fuck, do I have to do this again? Like the forest, okay? You got to collect stuff over and over and over again. Great game, I love it, but I'm just like, I just did this. Like, why do I have to do it again? Like,
You guys have never played Destiny then?
I probably will never
I
play
have.
Destiny.
But not extensively, no. But
You
I played
don't
it.
know. You don't know people that play Destiny. You guys all claim you all are complaining about doing the same shit. Let me tell you, Destiny is to the extreme version of repetitiveness. Like if you ever want to go clinically insane, play Destiny 2. And the weird thing is about it, you know you're doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
But you want this certain gear that's going to make you so freaking powerful in all PvP and PvE, and you can be able to do the raid and your power level goes up because it's it's a loot-based game. And then you get there and you feel so disgusted because you play like 120 hours for this stupid gun that next season it's gonna mean freaking nothing. But you still love it and you still come back and do it. I had to leave, and I had somebody actually message me today and like he's like, "You ever play anymore?" I go, "No, I can never play that game ever again."
It's done. It's done.
But
yeah.
one game that I will say this until the day it comes out, and they actually have a release date by the way now, March of 2023, Ghost of Tabor has finally released a month date that it's coming out. That's
Dude,
one
quick.
game that I'm very highly anticipating.
Very quick.
That was quick.
Yeah, they said like if they get spicy with it. I think when I had
they get
Scott
spicy
on,
with it.
yeah, when they get spicy with it, they might drop it. He said, who knows, might be January, but they finally said March of 2023. So I'm okay with the wait. I wish it was like now, but at least it gives me time to get a PCVR and get acclimated.
Yeah, but
so
don't do it too soon because it's going to release broken and you're going to piss people off. And then unless you handle it well and just say, you know what, we're handling it, we're doing this and that and this and that. It's a gamble in my head. because
Hey,
we've been burnt. We've all as gamers have been burned way too many times, dude. We can't take it anymore.
Battlefield.
We got our walls now.
oh,
We
yeah,
got our walls,
Battlefield.
bro. Battlefield. Yeah, I was stoked for that game. I bought it, and I was like, I paid $60 to play this for 4 hours. This sucks.
You paid 60? Oh, you should feel lucky. I paid
Oh,
120.
Oh, you bought the full version.
I did.
Damn.
exclusive.
And I bought it 4 months before it came out.
Woof. I'm
So guess what
sorry.
I did? Want to hear my biggest oof? I bought Fallout 76 a year
Oh,
before it came out.
That game is so good.
So I played this is not, I'm not lying. With me buying it a year in advance, I was able to play the beta exclusiveness on PlayStation. I played the beta and I'm just like, this is god awful. And I never played the game when it fully came out ever.
Oh. See, and that
Spent
fucks you up
$100 on the
because it could be
exclusiveness.
good by now. It could be good with all
Yeah.
the updates and everything, but like
I've heard some people say it's all right. They made a really good update that made it, decent playable, but still I'm just like, it's a one and done for me. Like once I
Yeah.
hate you, you're just in game world, I'm done.
yeah, I agree 100%. And you know what's really sad about that is it can even turn you off the developer.
Yeah, true.
Yep.
100%.
Like, I don't know how many EA games I'm just like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm not doing another one.
and
I
with
keep buying.
Battlefront 2, the same exact thing. The
Yeah.
Battlefront 2 came out, they reversed a lot of shit, they changed everything, and now it runs beautiful and it looks great and it's a good game. But it took them a fucking year. Like just
Yeah.
wait a year and release the damn game when it's ready, and you'll get players like long-term players.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
Well, EA
Yeah.
lost a lot of credibility when they were it was pay the win for a while.
Yeah.
Uh,
Shady.
yeah. Yeah. That's shitty. But they've been, yeah. It's EA. I
Yeah,
got
it's
nothing.
EA.
I don't have much good to say about that. But
Yeah.
they put out. I generally will still play a lot of EA games, but I'm just kind of fed up with the company policies and how they run it. But
Yeah.
I obviously don't work there, so I don't have any pull. So
No
Yeah.
pull. But yeah, I applied for Ghost of Tabor's moderating team.
Ooh.
oh yeah.
And if I don't get it, I'm done. I'm not playing the game.
Yeah, I'm stoked for that game though, for sure. There's a
Yeah, me too.
there like the concept. Like we haven't really seen much, honestly, that looks that good, but like just the idea behind it and knowing like okay, this is what it could be. Him saying like if you call us what do you call it? Escape from Tarkov in VR, then that's great. And you can tell they're pushing for that because the logo that's the first thing you think of when you see the logo is
Yeah.
but yeah, like that's a big bar to shoot for.
And I just wish they weren't going off that bar. They need to watch that bar. They really, I'm not gonna tell them they can do whatever they want. They can call their game whatever they want. They can call it that genre or whatever they want. But if they say, hey, everyone that's ever played Tarkov, which is a very popular PC game a couple years ago, and I still see people play it, and it's a well-built game. But it's also VR, and it's just like, but the cool thing is that this game's not made with Unity. It's actually being made with Unreal Engine. And so that's going to be another troubleshoot as well. But like I said again, like, I'm really interested to see what it's going to look like. I'm going to say this again and again until I see the build. I have not seen it on Quest yet. I've seen it play on PCVR, but I've not seen it play on Quest yet. So if it's just as beautiful, but if it's off a little bit like Contractors is compared to PCVR and Oculus,
That's a given.
Still.
That's a given.
Yeah.
I'm not always so worried about the end graphics between the two. I'm worried about the continuous playability. Like if the way I was going to PCVR is because there's mods, there's this, there's that, there's just a ton of stuff that get added to these games. And then when you get back into the Oculus version, you're just like, oh, I forgot. I can't get this and this. And it's the same with like VR chat, same with like a lot of games. And for myself in my house, we have a bunch of headsets. So we like getting on the standalone Oculus games. We don't have a bunch of really good PCs in our house. So we can't play the same games, but we can jump on the headsets, play some golf or something. That's awesome. But there's the games on the PC that have all the variety, and you're paying pretty much the same amount. I don't think they're any different, to be honest. Maybe a couple bucks, but That's the only reason why I go for the PC version. The graphics, you're not really going to get me on graphics. I really could care less. But playability over time, you're definitely going to sell me on it.
Yeah, that's a like what speaking on the graphics aspect of it. Veil, for example, they made a beautiful looking game. It functions very well. The physics are awesome, and I feel like with a game, as I think about playing that game, the more you play it, even with Modern Warfare, the more you play it, the more you care less about how good it. You don't focus on that. You just focus on the mission at hand each round. Like, okay, where are we going? How
Yeah.
are we going to coordinate? Like, where are we going to move to? If the physics and everything functions perfect, your brain is not looking at all this other stuff. Initially, yes, you're
Yeah.
like, dude, this looks sick. A new gun or like a new skin or map. Yes, it looks great. But after a couple games, you don't give a shit. You're just worried about
Yeah.
where do I gotta aim to a degree.
Mission first, right?
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
that's why you got professional players that are always running at the lowest graphics to get the highest frames. And yeah, I think that's an argument I'll probably try to throw their way. Like, hey guys, maybe to get you on Quest, to get you more players, think about this for a
Yeah.
second. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm looking for it, and like I've always told people, especially I probably everyone's heard me say this in the podcast multiple times, is that you have a good game until these AAA people come in. Everyone thinks they have a good game, and it's either you're going to either progress and become a AAA game alongside them, because nothing's saying that Veil or Ghost of Tabor will not become a VR AAA status title. Because not only is Ghost of Tabor going to be, which is Combat Waffles, which is the studio that they make the game with, they're planning for not just Ghost of Tabor. I think they're wanting like 3 or 4 different game titles
Yeah.
that are going to be underneath Combat Waffle. That as soon as Tabor's done, they're already getting they started to make another one. But people got to watch out. It's almost like me as a VR esports owner. One thing I got to worry about is people like Optics or FaZe coming in and just buying all my players off of me.
what about
Or
yeah, yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no, you're good. Go ahead. I'm done.
What I was gonna say is I just remembered that RuckUp. You have don't you have a shooter upcoming soon?
Yeah, I do, and I think about the same thing all the time, but I don't give a shit. because because the way I look at it is if AAA companies are going to come in and put a game out, well then that's not really my competition. They're still going to make the same mistakes I am.
Mm-hmm.
We just talked about some of the best games that were coming out that just freaking flopped,
Yeah.
right? So realistically, it's a coin toss for us as developers and us as people in esports and making gun stocks. We're all in the same boat. Like we're all competing in the same environment, but it's just how our it's just how we perceive it. Like do you somebody comes along and makes another gun stock, do you really care? No, it's not going to stop you from selling another one. Somebody comes in and creates another esport, are you going to give a shit? No, you're just going to keep doing your thing. Like
I'll destroy them.
or you can destroy them
Yeah, he's got to
100%,
think
or
about how to beat him.
how to beat them. Yeah, like I think that like even for what I sell, like it's the same difference. I have a lot of competition, but I don't care because I can still relate to my clients or my customers, and I can still be there and I can be real like I am right now. I don't see Bobo or any of the other fuckers coming on to podcasts and talking about their headsets and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're not doing that because they're not part of this environment. They're just some company that sells products. That's all they
Yeah.
are. There's a very big difference between the face of us three, what we do, compared to the face of somebody who hides behind. When was the last time you saw the CEO of EA Sports talk about how good their game is and how what they're going to do on a podcast? Never.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it? The meme for Star Wars, like we want to create a rewarding experience for the players or something. I forgot that meme, but that's like the only
Yeah,
thing I can remember.
exactly. So like silly stuff like that. So realistically, we're all in the same boat. We're all fighting the same war. We're all in this together. So it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you definitely touched on a really good point, because there's a lot of content creators that get a lot of viewership, and but they're such in their minds they reach their goal of being a content creator, and they've had to either step on toes or have a lot of people help them get to the where they're at. And I think people almost like saying like population one just to pick on them being bought by Facebook. They forgot about all the people that made them population one. If you look at, don't come at me, you thrill seeking people, but you look at Thrill Seeker, he has a huge community of like, I think 12,000 people in this Discord, makes really good videos. I watch them, but if you look at it, he plateaued and he's in this area. He doesn't have to come on my podcast. I send him a DM, doesn't even get back to me. That's him. That if you don't want to be part of the community, you want to make good content, go ahead. But people just maybe need to think about that.
I think it might be with Thrill Seeker specifically because his niche is like just hardware updates and then the VR chat world in general. He seems to have his stuff he likes, which is more of like he's the DJ guy, he's the VR chat guy, and like every now and then there's one game that sticks out that he'll play. And like I was saying, like he uses Boneworks in a lot of his filler B-roll while he's talking, and that's why he made a hype video for BONELABS. But like you don't really see him making reviews for contractors and all that stuff, And I think with this channel, it's more of like a anything goes type of stuff.
Yeah, but he's about to release a huge thing he's working on for VR chat, and it's just like, why don't you come on and talk about it? I know you think you have a huge following, but if someone doesn't like a product you're making, you can lose a following pretty quickly. It just happens overnight.
Yeah, and you can get knocked down off your high horse pretty quickly.
Yeah, you do.
Wait, he's doing what he's doing something for VR chat?
I don't know. You'd have to go into his Discord. I don't know exactly what that project was. They were talking about it, and one of the in the conversations they were having within their community that I jumped in and listened to. But he has a whole like project coming out, and I don't know what it's called. I know that he said the project like 50 times in the chat, so I don't know how the hell I don't remember what it's called. But I guarantee you could find in there he's building another Discord for it and stuff like that. But like I'm just picking on him. It's not like because I like his content. I'm just putting names, people that would know, because I could really pick on someone that you and I both don't like, and that
all three of us have the same person in mind, but
RuckUp looked ready to say something though. You look ready to say something earlier.
No, I'm not. You know what? I really don't care. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what any personality does, because I think that for the most part they're there for themselves, and I don't mean that in a negative way, not at all. Because at the end of the day, people do need to make money to support their families or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So at the end of I totally agree. I think that you do you. That's how I think. But when you step on people or say something that's like completely off kilter, especially with people that you should be supporting, that's when I kind of get a little upset and I'll get a little defensive and I'll tell them. But realistically, I think that for the majority of the people out there, that no matter how many views they have or how many subscribers, I would say majority of the people that are there are actually helping the community. Personally, that's what I think. Yeah. I think there's a very few that may not, but that's our opinions. But I think that in the long run, I think that we're all just trying to do the same thing, and I think that there's a lot of great support, and a lot of the content creators are really supportive, and it's pretty humbling sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I've had my run-in, with Olen VR in the beginning when I first got started the TikTok account, started to see a lot of creators. I threw my stock at pretty much anybody I could find with like a somewhat decent following, and at least 15K. I was like my minimum. I was like, okay, I need, because this is an investment for me, especially in the beginning when you don't have much money, and I did get burned quite a few times, and like I just keep it in the back of my head. I'm just like, okay, like that's kind of the cost of doing business to a degree. And I just know that this person, if I ever see them down the road, I don't want anything to do with you. That's just what it is. Like you just figure out, you just figure out the lay of the land, and then you're just like, okay, I'll just maneuver around you, and it is what it is. And if I ever have to, there's gonna be somebody at the Miami LAN that who is one of those people, and I was just like, oh well, like I initially saw him in the group, this person, and I was just like, initially that you get that initial reaction of like, oh, screw that guy, but now I'm just like I can't let that, dictate how I like want to do my thing in
Yeah,
general.
because it's gonna stink if you show up and he's actually a cool dude in person. You're just
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that too.
it sucks that you're such a cool dude, but your personality sucks.
Yeah, I want to bring
Like
this
your
up to you.
online personality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Let
You
me
might
pull
be.
you aside. Take one of your guns and just shove it right where it counts. It's like, you see where that gun is doing now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think though that I think it's healthy to have that. I think it's normal, but I think that at the end of the day, their opinion is one of billions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's so
it
many
does.
freaking people on this planet that, trust me, somebody with 1 million subscribers means nothing to me, because there's just so, I don't need them to sell my product or to sell my game or to give me anything.
Mhm.
I can go to Amazon, I can go to Google, I can go to, like, I know how to do my own thing. I don't need them.
Yeah,
And for the most part, not for the
Yeah.
most part,
yeah,
it's 100% accurate.
Yeah.
But
yeah. But and what I've noticed, and people can take it how they want to see it, is that all these people that that we're mentioning, and it's not always this, but it's the old school VR people that are doing this, that have been there since day one VR. They probably picked up one of those 1990s freaking VR Nintendo headsets, whatever. Just a joke, but a lot of them are the ones that you could tell that they're like, we've been here. This is what and I think Olin and I talked about this last week, is
Yeah.
that they don't like change. They don't like any type of innovation that's going to threaten their model that they've created for their consumer. Their consumer is their fans and their community that they built. So whatever. And that's like, even like me, like I don't meet, like when I'm on YouTube, for instance, this is my main account now, which is VR Jungle Podcast and Havoc Clips. So I watch people's stuff and comment on my stuff, knowing that's my title. And sometimes I feel bad because like, I don't want people to think like, oh, he's just doing that because that's his title. No, I'm doing that because I want you to know that I'm also watching your shit. I'm
yeah,
also there. And like, I was on so I watch the other podcast, which is Between Realities podcast. And I was just like, sometimes I'll switch to my Geralty account, and I was just on there not paying attention. I said something, and they read it out loud. They go, looks like VR Jungle Podcast is here and hanging out. And they didn't stop. They could have completely just skipped me, but Skiba read it, and I was like, oh, all right, well, that's cool. That you're, even if they came on, I have no problem. Like, these are the people from Between Reality Podcasts. Go watch them, because yeah, why not? They have another perspective on VR that I can't give, because they actually go out and they get involved in this stuff. So they get hands-on experience when they do their podcast, and
yeah.
they bring on some really interesting guests. Like, I don't know if you saw the last one, but this guy, the guest that they had on last time, wants to, he who's creating some type of reality. What was it? Why do it just skip my head?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. And it's good. It's humbling, because I think everybody should at least take some time for everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
especially in such a new environment.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly feel the same way with my industry. I've just I'm like wary because of I don't know the people. Like I've wanted to reach out to other companies, but I just don't know them enough to be like, "Hey, I have a
Dude,
new idea. What do
you
you
just gotta
think?"
try it. You just gotta try it. I sent a message to Dave Portnoy, just off cuff, like, I have a VR idea for you, and I said, you email me, and I think I messaged him on Instagram, and I emailed his Dave Portnoy show, and I still haven't got anything back. But you still
Send
gotta
him a
do it.
pizza. You gotta send him a pizza first.
Oh yeah, that would be a good one.
No, but I'm
I'm still.
talking about specifically gunstock owners, like
Yeah,
gunstock companies. I'm just like, I feel like there's a cooler way we could do things together, implement these two together, but I just don't know what that's gonna bring. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I talk myself out of it to a degree, but yeah, I've considered that because like I know that you know there was one thing that I was watching Joe Rogan talking guy talking about UFOs. I forgot the guy who went to Area 51 and he was the main guy.
Oh, he worked there. I can't.
Yeah, yeah,
Whoa,
yeah. But he was talking like the
you
one
talk about
point he
authentic.
said though was This seems odd to me because they only wanted a few scientists in at a time, whereas the scientific community always works together when everybody, I mean, works way better when everybody can collectively put their minds together. And I feel like that applies to essentially everything. Like everybody
Yeah.
just genuinely wants things to happen. You put the minds together, something good will come out of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's just like there's still like the politics and the drama and like different things going on that you're not sure about, and so yeah.
The guy's name is Bob Lazar.
Bob Lazar, yeah, that
I
dude's
could
interesting.
tell I could tell you a true story about him, but that'll be left for off air. But anyway, not
Alright,
not
I
cool.
want to hear it.
exactly the most not exactly the most real fella you'll ever meet, but okay.
Really?
No.
But no, that's actually besides what he is, that's a really good quote, and I agree with you 100%. I think that I agree. Go chat, talk to as many as you can, but just be leery. Keep your ideas as close as possible until you're ready to share them. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
For
And it
real.
sounds like you have something good going on because you don't want to share anything. So, with your new product,
It's
Yeah.
not it's not it's not as good as you're making it out to be. I'll
We're
be
gonna
honest
have to
with you.
have him on for a third time when he's ready to release it.
yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right,
if we
fair enough.
find
We'll do that.
if we find out that if it's gonna be so we're still gonna have you a third time regardless because we like chatting with you. But if we just never bring it up again, it was a flop idea.
Exactly, 100%. We'll edit this part of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you come on the third time. Remember that show I did? The last part we did before we got off? Go ahead and wipe that out. Let's just talk about it. So yeah, we've been on for about 2 hours now. We've been talking for a little bit. I knew we would because good guest, good co-host.
Good
You got
chat.
me.
Good chat.
I'm
yeah.
just wonderful. Good
Good
chat.
people.
Yeah, and so just before I wanted to finish up, the one thing that I just looked up that guy really quick that they had on Between Realities. He's literally trying to make some like holographic type stuff. So when you think about it, it gets popped up in VR. So you're like in this VR type room. So you think of
What?
anything you want, it'll pop up. He's trying to build that type of like Star Trekky type stuff.
That's crazy.
And so that
Oh,
might
like
be
AI, how you can type in an entire like detailed sentence and it'll
yes,
generate an image and
exactly.
3D
So he's
model.
working on something like that. Which I was gonna like see. I'm gonna eventually want to see if he wants to come on that, but I don't want to like copy their people. But he was a cool guy listening to. And then
No, I
another
mean that
thing,
helps that guy get exposure,
Yeah,
like this
Absolutely.
project. Yeah.
and I've seen there's always people that if you I listen to a lot of podcasts because I drive an hour to work and an hour back. That I listen to a group of people like Joe Rogan, Bert Kreischer, and then like the Two Bears at the Cave, and then like some random ones like Nug Boys and stuff like that. They all share people, and it's almost like they went on a podcast tour with each other.
Yeah.
And so eventually, I want to get to that level with these people that do VR podcasts, but
In
that's
time.
just trying. That's in time. I'm just trying to get everyone to love each other. Come on. But another thing before I stop talking and let you kind of take it out about with you, Ruck, is that I want to mention to everybody that the VR Awards is going on, and I sent Olen a link of it. Please go out, and I know that we're not part of it, but I did say they better put me in it next year. We're gonna have some major problems. And then also having a VR esports category too, because why not also have Havoc on there as well? But VR awards going out. They have let's see, they have content creator of the year, VR healthcare. Wait, what am I reading there?
Yeah,
don't know.
they cover the entire spectrum of what everything VR covers.
So
Yeah.
I think that shit is, in my opinion, that's like kind of bullshit. The whole, there was a whole Twitter rant and some drama, a little bit from one specific person who's prone to that kind of stuff. But he did bring light to a thing where like all the stuff they're voting on is it looks like all the people who would have no clue about like the actual like they would have probably an idea about maybe the healthcare aspect of it or like the utilitarian part of it with engineering. But as far as gaming stuff, I'm like you don't play video games. You do not play video games. You're like
Yeah,
a 45-year-old dude. You got a full legit suit. You look like the CEO of EA. Like you do not look like a guy who wants to play video games. But it's just seems a little sus.
Yeah, so we got the VR awards going on, which makes me. I was literally thinking about this day because I knew I wanted to talk about it. How hard would it be for me to make some VR awards? I want to get some awards. There can be more. They have multiple award
They do?
channels.
Wouldn't be very hard.
No, I'm just gonna gather at people. It's so best content creator of the year is only gonna have VR Jungle, and then best esports team in VR for 2022 is only gonna have VR Esports Havoc. Let's see, best gun stock of 2022. Olen VR,
Easy.
and then best accessory for head straps, RuckUp VR. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Oh,
That was a
that was-
quick
that was-
award ceremony, and
That was a tough run.
Congratulations to all of us for
Thank
getting
you.
our awards tonight.
I appreciate it. It'll go next to my other 2 awards that we've won on your show every year.
Yeah, so that'd be fun. But so yeah, anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
For me, probably not. No, I think we've said it
For
all for
me?
the last 2 hours, but I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I love coming on. It was good to talk to both of you this time, and
Yeah, you as well.
Well,
nowhere to go but up. So thank you, boys.
until we find the portal in the oceans, that's gonna take us to the next world down.
This is true.
Olen, you got anything?
This
to
is
get
turning
us
into a
outta
Joe
here?
Rogan podcast.
We start talking
No.
about Bob Lazar.
What? Keep
You
an
gotta
eye
hurry
out
up,
for
get outta
our
here.
keep an eye out for our live stream. We'll be live streaming our booth at the Miami Major. Watch the Major. It's gonna be dope, and we'll be updating everything with videos and shit. I'm just gonna try to record every aspect of it I can and share with the world, and try to push for another one next year. So
Cool. So I don't know how we're gonna end this yet because he's controlling it this time and not me. So we're gonna figure this out. But next week, maybe same time as always. We might change it. Depends on how tired that guy is over somewhere over here. Depends on since Olen will be in Miami. We'll see how Monday goes. If he says he's too tired, then we'll probably just wait till later in the week.
no, I'll probably have 1,000 things I want to talk about. But
All right, so we're doing Monday. Screw it. I don't care if he's tired. He's
Let's go for it.
We're doing Monday now.
That's what
So
Red
I'll see
Bull's
everyone
for.
Monday, 9 Eastern, as always. Might bring a guest on. Maybe we'll find someone. Maybe we'll get one of the champions from the freaking tournament. All right, I'm searching. All right, let's go. All right, get me out of here. Close me out.
Bye, everybody.
Peace out.